So today I was going to show you how to make the popcorn Bavarian cream. It can be used in all kinds of different aspects in pastry. You can do a cake with it. You can do a multi-layer entremet with it, like what I'm going to do today. You can do all kinds of great things with it. Really make a sauce with it. I mean, popcorn is a very universal ingredient. So let me show you what I got here. This is going to be the basically I'm going to do an anglaise. I've steeped my liquid, which is 400 grams of half and half. I steeped it in popcorn that I popped and let it sit for about 15-20 minutes, and I strain it. I use that liquid. That's going to be the real flavor, the popcorn flavor I'm getting from it. Without further ado, let's get started. All right. So I put the 400 grams of liquid, half and half, on the stove here. I want to bring that to a nice simmer. I've got my sugar, my yolks. I've got 160 grams of sugar here, and I've got 128 grams of yolks. Okay. I've got 12 sheets of gelatin that I have soaked in ice water and then strained. It's nice and soft and pliable. Is take half the sugar and put it in the liquid. Okay. There we go. And then half the sugar I put into my yolk mixture here. See? Dump it right in. I like to put half and half because it's just a little bit, it's kind of a lot of sugar for these eggs. So I just take a little bit out. It's just easier to whip the eggs. And it still gives the same effect, in my opinion. So some people, they do it just all in the yolks, and that's fine too. That's just what I've been doing. It seems to be working. So if it's not broke, don't fix it, right? Okay. So all right, give this a good stir. You don't want to stop stirring it because then it's gonna cook the yolks. Sugar cooks yolks. So all right. Nice simmer going here. You can see this starting to steam up here, and I can start to smell it. That is a good indication. All right, so what I do next is I just add a little bit of this simmering liquid into here. Okay. It's called tempering. Tempering the yolks. Okay. So I turn down my my stove here, so I don't cook it too fast. And then I take my yolk mixture and I pour it right back in. Okay? Alright, everything goes back in. Alright. And then we give a nice whisk. Okay? I like to use a whisk just so that I don't have any eggs cook at the bottom of the pan. That does happen sometimes if you use a spatula. It's just not sharp. You couldn't get it off the bottom. I mean, that's what I use. So what I'm looking for here is I want to cook this to about 175 to 180. That's pretty good. And then I'll add my gelatin in and strain, of course. All right. So let's go on the stove here. Quick temperature. Doesn't take long in here, so I'm almost there. About 155 right now, so I'm just going to stir a little bit longer, and then that should just come right together. You'll see it thicken a little bit. They call that nappe, the French term. Coat the back of a spoon. That's what you're looking for here. Alright, taking the temperature again just to make sure we're good. We should be getting real close now. About 170, a little bit longer. Okay. Always want to make sure, just keep stirring, you know. It takes a little longer, that's fine. You just don't want to stop stirring and have it cook on you, because that could ruin it real quick. No pun intended. Alright, so we are at about 175, get real close. So close now. Perfecto. Now, gelatin goes in. Oh, just double check, make sure it's okay. Didn't miss anything because it's clear. Just stirring it in. That's it. Alright, now we're going in and strain it. I like to put it in a half pan or a full hotel pan just because it cools down a lot faster. What I'm looking for is this to be around room temperature. So. Press this through. Okay. All right, goes over there, here. I've got this. This is all my anglaise, nice and smooth. I'm gonna put some plastic wrap on the top of it so it doesn't get skin, and I let it sit on the marble until it gets a little bit warmer than room temperature. So just a little warm to the touch, not cold, just lukewarm. All right, I've got the anglaise now. It's been chilled to about room temperature. I'm gonna fold it into my cream, which I steeped. I have 1112 grams of heavy cream that I steeped in popcorn first, chilled, and then whipped it with 200 grams of powdered sugar inside to kind of stabilize it. So this goes right into the cream. So just dump it right in. That's it. Folds right in. Okay. Everything comes out here. Right into the mix. I like it because it kind of has the color of popcorn too, which is nice. Nice bonus. Smooth, and then we're gonna put our inserts in, and I'll show you how to do that. All right, this is what I usually put my popcorn in, my popcorn mousse with my insert, because it looks kind of like a box of popcorn. You can use whatever mold you want, whatever you have. I like this just because I have them. You don't have to buy a mold. I mean, we always have these little coffee cups, and when you freeze them, you can just tear them. Like I cut a little bit and then I just tear them off, and it works perfect. So main thing is when you fill them, you only want to fill them up like about right here because you have an insert inside. I don't fill all the way to the top, it's just too much. It's 10 ounces, you know, this cup is, so I know that's way too big. So I'm thinking like I want to insert around maybe 5-6 ounces, something like that. So that's going to be kind of where I'm thinking of when I do it. All right, so I got my mousse in my bag here. Cut the tip, put the mousse directly into the cup here. All right. And then what I'm gonna do after that is put my insert. So you can see I put a little bit of space. You see how much space? Here's my, it's caramel Fleeting Crunch, caramel and peanut, peanut and praline cream. And then this is a Coca-Cola, which I inserted a straw into. This is nothing to it, just Coca-Cola frozen, so you drink it out of there, out of the center. It's kind of a cool concept. All right. So, put it right in there, right in the center, press it down. Okay. There you go. Then you take a little bit of the mousse and pipe it over the top of the Coca-Cola. Sorry, there's a little hair in there. I don't want a hair in there. Terrible. So, all right, there it is, right there, and then that goes straight. So we've got our popcorn unmolded out of the coffee cup, and we're going to dip it in the white chocolate that's been heated to 45 degrees Celsius and then drop down to 28 degrees Celsius. It's very important that you do that, so it gives it a nice secure, it's more tempered, it's stronger. So when it's frozen, you just dip it right in, right to the top. Shake it a couple of times, just like this. Put it down and scrape. That's it. This is 50% white chocolate. I use Cocoa Berry. It's fantastic. You can use other brands. Verona is another one I like. And 50% cocoa butter, 50% white chocolate. So that's all this is. Like I said, melt it to 45. Then drop it down to 28. You can do that on the marble, or like I do, I just let it sit out on the marble in the cup and take a temperature about half hour later. It's usually right. So next we'll show you how to decorate. We've got our white chocolate here. I'm going to start tempering it now. It's at 45 degrees. Anything over 42 is good. It is a little warm at 45. But I'm going to temper it on the marble slab here. I do it on acetate, or on plastic wrap, and it just seems to keep things a little bit more tidy. So I'm going to do that now. Just dump it right on top here. Just want to make sure that you spread it, move it constantly. Make sure that you're getting the corners and making sure that everything is getting moved. Don't leave sections that are not that you're not touching. You want to touch every bit of the chocolate on here. Movement, time, movement, and temperature. Those are the three things you definitely got to think about when you're working with chocolate, for sure. The laws. So basically what I do is I'm looking for it to thicken a little bit, and I can see that by eye. Also, I'll touch it, and if it's still warm to the touch, I'll just keep working it. Once it gets a little cool, that means it's cool to the touch. That means it's going to be pretty close to ready. You're looking to drop this to about 25 degrees, 25, 26, and then I'm going to raise it back up to 29 to 30. That'll give a perfect temper, and it'll be great for our garnish. This is for our garnish for the popcorn dessert. This is for the stripes. All right. It's almost there. Close now. Almost ready. Keep moving. Okay. I think that's good. Feels good. Alright. So, it's kind of the fun part. You take the plastic here, you fold it on top of itself like this, pick it up, and then just drop it right back into the cup here. I mean, you can use the marble, you don't need to do this step. It's just a lot easier for me to keep clean. That's all the only reason I do it. Okay. So, we take the temperature. 25, right on the nose. Alright, so into the microwave. I usually go like 4 to 5 seconds at a time. You don't want to overdo it because it can bring the chocolate out of temper if you heat it too much. You don't want to get it over 31 and be like the max I would do with white. And even then, that would be pushing it. I like to keep it around 29. That's my goal. I know it's not hard. I do that on purpose, just a little bit at a time, because sometimes you can really heat the outside, and then the center isn't warm enough, I should say. Stir it. This helps too because this is movement. So movement is key. So I'm stirring, I'm warming, I'm trying to create the perfect temper. Right. Almost there. 27 degrees. Very, 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 very close. In your microwave, you might need 10 seconds if it's not a very powerful one, or you might need 2 seconds if it's like crazy. But you have to test it with your thermometer. Start in little increments, and then you'll find out if it's too hot really fast. If you go over the temperature, it's not a big deal. You can always retemper, but who wants to waste their time? You know, I say that all the time. You heard me say that a bunch of times. Alright, so this should be exactly right. It is. Yeah, it's a little bit. It's 29, so that's within the range that I'm looking for. All right. Okay, so we're going to do our garnish for our popcorn dessert here at the Hamilton Harbor Club. Very popular, new item. Everybody likes it. So I have a damp towel. I've wiped the marble, and then I have my strips that I've already cut out. I place them while it's still damp on top, and that actually sticks it to the marble. It's cut to 3/4 of an inch wide, and then the acetate strips I use are 3 inches. So it'll be 3 inches tall, and then 3/4 of an inch wide. So I'm going to take this cocoa butter with my brush, and I'm actually going to just brush it right onto these strips. By brushing it like this on the cold marble, you're actually tempering the cocoa butter while you do this. So it's kind of, it saves a step, and it makes it a lot easier that way. It saves you time, which is always good, you know. We don't ever want to waste your time. I'm sure you've heard me say that before. So just keep on brushing this until it crystallizes completely. Okay? Very important. You don't want to stop, because then you're going to have streaks. It's not going to be tempered properly. Tempering happens with time, temperature, and movement. Time, temperature, and movement. So you can start to see that it's crystallizing now, that it's not shiny anymore. You can starts to get hard, you can feel it with the brush. So when that happens, that means that you've tempered your chocolate. You've created the crystallization needed, and you're going to get a nice shine out of this. It's really, really important. Okay? All right. Now, do after this is I remove it, see? And I'll put it underneath the wood block to make sure it's flat. Alright, we've got our tempered chocolate here, so we're going to start doing our stripes for our popcorn dessert. Basically, you just want to pour a little bit on the top here. You don't need much. Okay. Spread it evenly, just like that. You want it to be thin. I always keep the reserve here just for the scraps and whatnot. take my bench scraper and I get this off like that. Scrape this. Okay. Clean that off the table. Wipe your spatula right away. And then while this is still wet, see? Got a shine on it. I just run it right up the side. Just like that. Now one thing you have to make sure is I wipe the outside of this really well with a paper towel to absorb all the water that's on the outside, because that can really mess things up for you with this. Because the water, the ice, whatever's on the outside from when you dipped it will not allow it to stick. So you got to really wipe it clean. Very important. Okay, so we've done all the stripes. There's 5 stripes on each one of the popcorn desserts. Now, I let it sit in the fridge for about 20 minutes, maybe a half hour. You'll know that it's ready when the top part starts to curve a little bit. That's a good sign. Okay, so I'm going to remove all of these plastic acetate strips. Okay, just like that. Okay. I broke a little piece here, but don't worry, we're going to trim that right now. So you take your torch and your hot paring knife, and you just trim off the top right here. Okay? Just like that. And I go around the entire thing. Want to be careful, you don't want to put too much pressure on it. Want to come off. Put that up again. There we go. Okay. You can turn off the torch. And here you are. You can see they're all trimmed on the top. Okay. And then we take our popcorn that we did, our meringue popcorn. Put it right on the top, just like that. Popcorn. Now, you can add nuts in there or pretzels or whatever you want. It's pretty fun. So, and this straw right here, this goes to the Coca-Cola, so you can actually drink that first if you want to. So it's a pretty cool dessert. Happy to share it with you, and I hope to see you soon.